Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 15, Spacetime. I think this was a fun episode with the idea of possibly being able to change the future. We got some pretty cool surprises in this one as well. Of course, Andrew came back for his seemingly, they say it's like, oh, this will be the last time, but who knows. But as far as we know currently, Andrew has returned for his final transformation. He is full on Lash from this point on. We also have an unseen vision for Malik in this episode, which clearly, they explained several times that, when you touch this guy, you will see a death. And it may or may not be yours. And based on Malik's freak out, towards the end of this episode, I'm assuming he saw his own death, possibly at the hands of Ward. So, who knows? I thought that was cool, and they're going to be getting rid of him fairly soon. So Malik's gone. I don't know if there's going to be like a transfer of money and all that stuff to Ward or anything like that. It would probably go to his daughter. We've seen his daughter, so she might actually come into play next season as kind of a big character, maybe trying to get revenge for her father, depending on who kills him. But I like what they did with this. The idea of them, trying to fight against the future. And they gave probably one of the best explanations I've ever heard about the future and what it is and whether or not it can be changed. I really enjoyed that. And, the two-dimensional thing that Fitz explained, like, if we were two-dimensional, we'd be this piece of paper, and this line on this stack of papers, which is three-dimensional, would be this line constantly moving for us because we're two-dimensional. But in actuality, it's just this line, and that's it. That's where it is. And I was like, that's actually pretty great. That was a really awesome explanation of, people not really being able to understand how you can or can't change the future. And I figured it would turn out this way by the end of the episode, because normally when it's the type of episode where someone sees the future, it always becomes the future. It's not like, oh, they went into the future and then they jumped back and they changed it. It's like, no, we saw the future, and every decision they make ultimately leads to the future. Like, that's just how it is no matter what they decide to do. So I certainly enjoyed that. They had a really cool thing with them doing the training and stuff and resetting. And we get to the moment, of course, they do the intruder thing, which ends up being Andrew, and it's like, alright, well, boom. There's all of their possibilities, all that crap is thrown right out the window. Of course, it's going to go down exactly as the vision showed. And I love that. I was like, okay. First off, the reason for the future being set in stone was great, because I never would have expected Andrew to come into this episode. So that was a great way to just throw everything off. It's like, well, who cares? All that training they did, going through that same little thing over and over again, doesn't matter. And it was Coulson's decision too. I thought it was definitely going to be May's decision, where it's like, I have to stay because it's his last transformation. But I was glad it wasn't. I was glad it was, just because it was a slight difference on the formula. And it was Coulson who, the man with the heart, he's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to figure this out. You stay with him. Regardless, of him having been a killer and how you might feel right now, it would weigh on you for the rest of your life if you aren't here for him in this, final Andrew, moments. So I love that. I was like, it's cool that it was Coulson. It wasn't May that decided to, stay with him at the last minute. And, they go through everything, and of course, we get to the room, and everything kind of works out fine for Sky, and then we find out that, the alarm went off, not because of the guy that was running to the alarm, but actually because of someone behind a one-way mirror, which I thought was a great way to kind of play on that, and her vision of seeing Coulson seemingly shooting at her. I thought that was very cool. I was like, that's pretty awesome how they played around with that idea. And, of course, he kills the guy on the other side of the mirror, who should have clearly been, set that alarm off way before she beat up like 5 guys and shot like 18 shots. But, TV, whatever. And I just like the way that was a nice little twist. We have the team finding out that Ward is alive. He's in his full Matrix jacket. And he's going through and he's helping Malik kind of truly feel power. And I like that. We got to see more of him, like, wiping out people with the weird skin disintegration thing that he has. So, a bunch of skeletons and stuff. And then we had Malik put on like the little exoskeleton suit, and he crushes a vase, and he flips the table, and then he did some. I forgot exactly how he killed the guy. I think he squirrels his head. That's what it was. It was crazy, and he squeezes his head, and it just destroyed the guy. I liked the way that they did it too. It was a nice little bit of CG where it really looked like his face was kind of folding and kind of warping. So he, just crushes that guy, and it's like, he feels really powerful. And so we have, this new alien version of Ward, and he's kind of taking over the Inhumans, and he wants only Inhumans to survive. So it's like put out a kill order on anything that's not an Inhuman. So kill all the humans. And so we have Gurion, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He hits Lincoln straight in the face with a fire extinguisher, and that's why he had the blood on his face. But they leave him alive. He wants Inhumans to survive. Maybe because he wants to take control of them. Because I feel like that's what it is. It seems like he's kind of just like, oh, we're better than the humans. Kind of a Magneto sort of deal. But it seems a lot more like he's doing mind control, to be totally honest. Because that's just how it seemed from the very beginning. It seemed like he just has them under full-on mind control. Because they're doing stuff, like when he was supposed to stay in the room or whatever when Gideon left. And the first thing he did was like, I know he said, to keep me in my room, but I'm going to need you to let me basically just walk out or, bring people to me. And I feel like they went right along with that, not because, oh, he's this powerful Inhuman or anything, but because of this weird form of mind control. It might be that really weird form where it's like they don't even know they're under mind control, but they actually are. It's like a weird subconscious mind control, and I feel like I mentioned that before. I may have, but I still feel like that's where it's at. So I don't think it's exactly like, oh, I care about the Inhumans because I'm an Inhuman. I think he just wants his own little army, and eventually, he'll be able to take over them. And he probably didn't go after Lincoln because it's like, well, who knows where backup is in this situation, so he has to actually escape. But I had a great moment at the end. Daisy was getting punched like crazy, which I never expected. Like, he was backhanding her and like punching her straight in the face, and she was staying pretty strong. She thought she was gonna die for sure. They kind of hinted like, oh, what if it was Daisy's death when she saw her own death during the visions and stuff. So he's just beating her up and stuff like that. And like, obviously they aren't gonna kill Daisy off. So how is she gonna get out of this? And of course the guy comes down, and that's when Gideon gets his weird future death vision that freaks him out. Chokes the guy to death, or seemingly chokes him. I'm assuming he broke something within his body, which my girlfriend totally hated that scene when she was watching, because he did choke him and he had like a weird slow death. It seemed they did something where it sounded like he broke something, and that's kind of what I assumed it was. And it was because they had some weird, they always have some sound effect. It's like something broke, so something in his neck was crushed or broke or whatever, and it slowly killed him somehow. But he saves Daisy, and it's like, I finally made a difference, and she agrees to protect his daughter. And then she has that final touch, which made me a little upset. I was really hoping that they would show more. I thought we were going to get to see, I thought, they started in the front of the Quinjet, and then it backs up. We see the random briefcase, which I feel like might be important for some reason. And then we get the necklace, which is of course from Yo-Yo. And then we get the shield patch, and then it still stops right there. It still doesn't pull back, and we get to see, another person. And it's still someone with a shield patch on. It's still possibly Yo-Yo. Of course, that was kind of the point. Like, we have this necklace. It was fairly obvious in that episode that we were going to find out who the necklace belonged to, and it's Yo-Yo. But it could really be anyone. Maybe she gave that necklace to somebody. Well, you never know. It could be like God watch over you. Anything simple like that makes perfect sense to me. So just because it's that, I mean, heck, honestly, the fact that it's her necklace is kind of the main reason I don't think it's her. I feel like that's too obvious of a thing. But at the same time, with that being such a cliche where it is not that person, it could actually be her, and it would still end up being a twist. So we're at that point where two cliches kind of mash together, and it's like, I don't know. So either way, it'll be a bit of a twist to find out who dies, but somebody does. It could end up being a villain. I don't know why they'd have a shield patch on. Could easily be for some sort of decoy mission to, maybe like infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D or whatever. Somehow they, got Yo-Yo's necklace. Maybe they tried to grab her or something. They were just a little too slow, but her necklace was still attached, and they pulled it off. Any number of things could have happened. So we don't know who dies, but somebody dies. Could be a hero, could be a villain, but it's somebody. Somebody is going to be dying by the end of this season. And if they don't die, that'll be interesting. Unless it's Andrew, which I think would... Well, it's in space, so even if, they don't die, no matter who it is, it's going to be pretty crazy. So, I don't know when we're going to get that. I would assume we only have probably like 3 or 4 more episodes. If 4, probably only 3 more episodes. But definitely looking forward to this finale coming up, and now the team knows that someone's going to die. And obviously it's going to be like, oh, well, I saw her necklace, so we can't send her on the mission, but something will happen. And we've seen, based on this episode, and I think that's probably my favorite thing about it, this episode established how this guy's visions work. They will not change, and they are what happens. He tried to change them long before, the character was actually in the show, and we get that from his wife. And then we get it in the episode itself, where all these little things happen. No matter what they try to do, it plays out as the vision showed. So someone is going to die, no matter what. And I don't want to say I'm excited for that, but I'm looking forward to what they're going to do, who they're going to decide to kill off, if it'll be someone newer, if it'll be someone who's fairly established, which I think it might be someone who's fairly established, but I don't know who they could really kill off. I mean, no one's really expendable. They already have such a tiny team. It's not like they could kill someone off and it's like, oh, we got like 8 dozen people left. It's already like basically just 10 main characters, and then all those random people, which I mentioned before, just all those random people in the background. So someone's gonna die, and it's gonna matter. Even if it's one of the new characters, that would suck, because I want to see where they take, like the new Inhumans. And I don't know, we'll just have to see what happens. But I certainly enjoyed this one, of course. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with the vision that we got 2 visions. Well, we got to see one of them, which we'd already seen with the space mission. But we also have Malik's vision. And I definitely want to know your predictions for both. I don't think I actually asked this. I probably did when it first showed up, but I definitely want to know who you guys think actually dies during this mission. And for Malik's thing, I want to know who you guys think actually killed him. I'm assuming it couldn't be his head of security, because he actually called him and was like, you should be by me, by my side at all times. So of course it wasn't him that he saw in his vision. And who knows, it may not have been his death that he saw. He may have thought it was his, just like Sky did because of the mirror thing. But that was a bit of a fluke. She was looking at a mirror and thought she was just looking, straight at him. So I don't think that's the case. I think he knows someone is coming after him, but he doesn't want to say anything, like, I gotta figure out how I'm going to change this, basically. So I want to know your predictions for who kills Malik and who dies during this mission. It's really hard to guess as far as the mission goes, but I feel like it would be Ward that kills him. But he did so much to help him in this episode, but it's still like the weird inhuman component to it. He's still just a human character, and we've seen, he clearly established in this episode, only kill human enemies, and he probably only needs Malik for a certain amount of time. And I think it's going to end up being Ward, but it could be anyone, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually Coulson who got to take out Malik, in the end. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how all this stuff plays out. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, though, definitely want to know your predictions for who killed Malik and who dies during the space mission. And, of course, what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.